How did I create better habits for myself? Discipline. That's how. I was able to create better habits for myself, ones that aligned more so with my goals through discipline. Before I go into more detail about how exactly I did this, I want to take you back about 6 months ago. I was in the break between first and second semester of uni. And I just felt so lazy and unmotivated to do anything. I play soccer and I love playing soccer. I didn't feel motivated to play soccer. I didn't feel motivated at all. I did not want to do anything. And for anyone that knows me, that is very uncharacteristic of me. I love playing soccer and I don't need to make an excuse to play soccer. So upon reflection, acknowledging that I was unmotivated and lazy, that I didn't even want to play soccer, to me tells me in hindsight that I needed change. So I decided that I had enough and I was going to start initiating change. It took about 3 or so months for me to initiate the change. What I realized was I didn't truly believe it. I didn't truly believe that I could change. And then once I started taking action, I started believing. Once I took action, I knew that I could and that I was capable of making change. I'll tell you another story of someone that I met at my uni ball, which was, like I said, about 3 months after. And it was only after that I met him, his name is Liam, that my perspective changed. And it almost unlocked something in my mind that allowed me to change. I thought this dude was pretty cool, right? And I had a few drinks and didn't think anything more than this guy was pretty cool. Seemed like a good person. He was funny, confident, charismatic, a good person to be around. And I found out the next day that he had something called, what was it called? Guillain-Barré syndrome. And I'm not going to try to explain it because I don't know enough about it. But I found this out through watching a TED Talk that he performed in front of people about 4 years ago. And he was bedridden. He could have died. But because of his resilience and growth mindset, he was able to survive and surpass all expectations from doctors. After watching this TED Talk, I messaged him and I said, man, goosebumps. I literally have goosebumps after watching your video. I would never in a million years have picked and expected you to have gone through such a thing. It would have been 5 years. 5 years before I met him. Not at all would I have expected it. It was a very wholesome moment. And like I said, the reason why I'm telling you this is because it unlocked something in my mind that allowed me to change my mindset and to start taking change. So about 3 months ago, I said to myself, anything is possible. I am possible of anything. After seeing what Liam went through, it not only made me grateful for everything that I have and the simple things in life, but it also made me realize that people can do anything. We can achieve anything. So I started to take change. And what I did, I deleted Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. I got rid of those 3 social media apps because I identified that they were the most distracting for me. I would spend countless hours on these apps, just scrolling, doing not much, wasting time, where I could be studying or meeting up with people or working. Regardless of what it was, I was wasting valuable time on these apps for absolutely no reason. So they had to go. They went, I deleted them, and at first it was hard for me. It's almost like I was getting a bit jittery because I didn't have these apps. It was something very unfamiliar at first, but now it's a breeze. I couldn't care less whether I have these apps or not. And excuse me, let me say that again. People that I speak to on a regular basis, they all know that I don't have these social media apps anymore. So I've found other ways of keeping in contact with them so that I can maintain these social connections while still deleting these apps. That's not the only thing that I did though. What I also started to do, I made sure that every morning I made my bed, regardless of how late I was, how I felt, how hot or cold it was, I made sure I made my bed. I did this because, like Liam in his TED Talk, he talks about celebrating the small wins. By celebrating the small wins, they accumulate over time. And these small wins become big wins because, for me, it unlocked something in my mind that showed me that, yeah, I can do this. I am capable of doing this. I can achieve what I want to. It opened up other aspects of my life that I didn't think were possible. So I deleted the main three social media apps I was using. I started making my bed every single morning, I should say. And then at night, every single night, I would journal and then read before I go to bed. To give you some context about me, for the first 18 years of my life, I hated reading. I could not stand it. I couldn't stand it. Especially at school, being forced to read books that I didn't want to read, I hated it. Hated it. But I've always known that reading is very good for you. Especially now, I love how I spend time away from a screen, but I'm still learning something, or I'm still being able to relax while having something to do. And I find it helps me wind down before I sleep very well. So now, within the last 3 months, I have developed a love for reading. And it has shocked so many people that I know, because they've always known that I have never loved reading. Ever loved reading. But now you can't take a book out of my hands, especially at night. So I made sure I do that, and I make sure I journal. Now, why do I journal? You might be thinking. Journaling for me helps me sit with my thoughts. Just sit there with my thoughts. It allows me to think, to just have whatever thoughts, emotions pop up, to have them pop up in my mind so that I can let them pass. And I write them down. And by writing them down, I find that helps me. It slows down my thinking. And it also unclutters my mind. I don't know if that's a word. Oh well, I'm going to use it anyway. It helps me unclutter my mind. Sometimes there is just so much going on in the world around me. And I just leave it all up here. And what I noticed is that from journaling, I started to get more clarity. I started to feel a lot better and a lot more focused on things. This also has something to do with dopamine, which I'm not going to get into because I don't quite understand it that well. But like I said, I was able to have more clarity and focus on tasks at hand. Doesn't matter what the task was, whether it be reading, journaling, making my bed, brushing my teeth, going to soccer, driving, or even doing uni work. It doesn't matter. I just felt a lot better while I was doing these activities. So to wrap this up, how I was able to start developing better habits for myself. And what I should mention is that now I feel amazing. I really do. I feel so much better than I was 6 months ago, where I just felt lazy is the best word to describe how I felt. I look back and I think, how do I let myself how do I put myself into a position like this? How do I let myself get so lazy? Because I have never been lazy, except for the time about 4 years ago when the pandemic hit. It hit me like a train, and then my laziness just went through the roof. But other than that, I've never, ever been lazy in my life. And it's not a nice feeling that I resonate with. So in saying that, by journaling, I'm forgetting one of the most important things that I've done. How could I have forgotten this? I finish by my showers each and every day by standing under cold water for, I don't even know how long. I don't time myself. I don't count. But I make sure my whole body gets covered in the cold water. That has been a real driver for helping me enforce this discipline. I hate doing the cold water. Every single time I do it, I dread it. There have even been times where I've gotten out of the shower, I've dried myself and forgotten to just stand under the cold water. And then I just sigh and put my hand in my head. My head in my hands. It'd be nice if I could speak. But I put my head in my hands and just go, I don't want to do this. But I do it anyway. Developing the skill of doing hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. It's something Hamza says at the end of all of his YouTube videos. It's a very important skill, and it helps you improve your discipline. And that has been what helped me initiate this change. Sticking to this cold shower after finishing my shower, reading, journaling, and spending less time on my phone because I've deleted all these social media apps, and making my bed in the morning, I've found that doing these has really helped me change, create better habits for myself, habits that I feel are more aligned with the person that I want to be, rather than being, I like using the term a dopamine demon, because especially scrolling through social media, I find it's very addictive because I think it raises your dopamine. I'm not sure, but that is my understanding of it. And it's this constant loop that you find yourself trapped in, that I found myself trapped in. And now I feel, like I said, I feel a lot better now that I have, gotten rid of that. I've broken free of that trap. In saying that, as I always say, change has to come from within. It starts with you. It started with me. I had to initiate the change within myself. Yes, it did help that I came across Liam and I found out about his story. I was able to really change my mindset to help me push through. But at the end of the day, the change started with me. I started the change. And no one else is going to pick you up and drag you along and change you, because you are the one who needs to initiate the change. It has to come from you.